I'm Jeremiah Boucher, a commercial real estate investor with over 20 years experience. This show is designed to help you build your business, become a better real estate investor, and help you see opportunities that will keep you ahead of the competition. This is Finding Your Edge.
What's up, guys? Jeremiah Boucher here, Finding Your Edge podcast. Today, we're going to talk about trusting your instincts, following your intuition, going with your gut. That is a key piece, right, when making decisions in real estate, investments, hiring, partnering, relationships, everything in your life. I was looking at my book again here, Finding Your Edge, and I wrote it 5 years ago. And principle 6, I say, is trust your intuition, right? Go with your gut. And I really like what I wrote. I forgot I even wrote it. And one of the key points I want to go over here is we all have fear, right? Fear is a message. Fear can overwhelm us, especially when you have an obsessive mind like mine, where you love to analyze and logically break down a problem or figure out a solution. And like when you get your mind on it, it's so hard to let it go and just not let that consume you, that fear. And pain is a message. Pain is trying to tell you something. So I've realized these things over my career, where if you are continually in pain in a partnership, in a relationship, in a area of your business, and even in your body, like it's telling you something and trying to give you a message. And rather than fighting it and pushing it away and avoiding it, I've really learned, and I'm still learning, how to go into it, go into the pain, go into the fear, right? Explore it. Think through what is the worst case scenario and how would I operate? How would I react to that? And it feels paralyzing at the time, but then mentally you can prepare yourself to let go of all that emotion that gets caught up in our body, and it causes us to freeze and hesitate and delay. And then you can explore, like, I'm willing to do what I need to do to get through this fear or pain, and I'm listening to the message. And the message in real estate that I've learned is fear is telling us to prepare. Right? Preparation. When you're going to do a big speech in front of your staff or in front of an audience, like there's that nervous energy, or you have a big game if you played sports in high school, like there's that fear, but it's that anticipation, and it sharpens you. It hones you in. Fear is a tool, right? And it's driven by our mind. And the mind, I believe, is not our friend. The mind is a survival mechanism tool that allowed us to evolve the last 2 million years as Homo sapiens to protect us. And the mind and the voice in our mind is going to find everything wrong in a situation and cause us to avoid it. Because the people that didn't listen to that message ended up getting eaten by a tiger, or they got killed by some animal, or they weren't aware of their surroundings. So that message is constantly looking for inaccuracies and projecting fears on the environment around us, telling us not to do something that could get us killed. Now, in this day and age, there's almost nothing that's going to kill us around us. We live in the safest time in history of mankind. And yet we use this tool like things are still going to kill us, like emotionally, physically, we feel it. So if we have a big deal that we're going to do, or a big hire, or a big capital partner, or an investment that we're going to make that's significant, and then we let that fear ruminate in our brain, and we let it eat at us because we didn't prepare, or we don't have the data or the research, or there's a feeling or an intuition that's telling us not to do these things. And we don't know how to make that decision. It stops us in our tracks, and we don't know what to listen to. Like I have trouble myself figuring out what is the right decision. We all do. And that's what great leaders do, is they make decisions, and they lead from the front, and they have conviction and confidence in their decision-making ability. And when you're entering into that big decision, and there's people counting on you, either investors or another partner is counting on you making an investment, or you need a key employee, and you're just wavering and hesitating because of that fear, is everyone around you feels that same insecurity and that same fear. And then it breeds fear, right? You see someone afraid, and you're next to that person, you're going to get afraid unless you have the confidence and resilience and the experience where you feel that conviction, and then your certainty and your stability end up allowing everyone around you to be more still and secure, and they feel confident in the decision. So it's almost tangible. It's almost palatable, right? You can feel the fear and sense it, and you can feel the confidence and you can feel the conviction. And when I'm saying making a decision on your gut, I'm not talking about just a hunch or a quick feeling. That's a bet and that's gambling. I grew up in Vegas and I've seen a lot of people lose money just having this fleeting feeling or this hunch, and they just make a irresponsible decision and they really don't do their homework and they don't put in the preparation to make a good decision, and then they bet it all and lose it. I'm talking about something more calculated, and then something where you have the experience, where you're guided in a way where you know that you've done your homework, you actually put the time and energy in, you followed other people that have actually succeeded before, you're prepared, and then it's time. It's time for you to take that shot. And that's where the obsessive mind, the fear-driven mind, right, the primal part of us, that the drives are to survive, are to meet the primal urges, that's going to pull us in all these different directions and get us uncertain, versus that I believe there's a conscious part of our mind, like a more elevated conscious part, that can observe, that can consciously make a decision without being driven by our biological urges and our fears. And that's where I'm talking about trusting in your gut, trusting in that feeling in your chest. And that's a powerful tool. It's a resonance tool. It's like an instrument. You know when you're around somebody that something's off, that their intentions don't feel right, or where there's an opportunity out there where something feels very special, where there's something exciting, there's something grabbing you and pulling you towards it. So it's navigating that tool, and it takes a lot of sensitivity and I think cultivation. And I've seen people do it, and I feel like I've been working on it and refining it, allowing myself to have trust in how I feel. So tying it back to real estate, like you're going to look at a lot of different assets that you're going to buy. You're going to look at partners, you're going to look at employees, you're going to look at capital sources, lenders, capital partners. And there's a few things that I do to really understand first, like if we're aligned. And the first thing is there's got to be motivation on both sides. And that's just a communication tool, and then a feeling as well, where if that person truly doesn't want to sell their property, or they truly deep down really don't want to invest, and you are trying to pull and you're needy and you're trying to drive the investment and make them do something they deep down don't want to do, in my experience, it doesn't work. There's always going to be issues. Things are going to come up. No transaction's perfect. No partnership's perfect. And when shit hits the fan, that's where you find out, okay, are we really aligned in what we're trying to create here? Goes for relationships too. If you're trying to convince someone to be on your team or to be your partner, and they deep down don't have a drive or desire to want to do that, ultimately you can't persuade them. You can't influence them to do something that they truly don't want. So what I do is I try to find the story. What is the story behind the seller? What is the situation? Knowing that story of the deal and knowing the story of the person and what's driving them, that's going to help us be sensitive to what are these things I'm keying up on when I'm learning from this person what they really want. It's not what they say, right? It's how they say it. It's the tonality, it's the energy, it's the hesitation, it's the volume, it's the pacing. It's all of the little things. It's the body language, it's the eye movement. It's all about their energy, about how they're expressing themselves. And then you get an idea, do they really want to do something here or do they not? And you can get a hunch on opportunities, like in areas of new developing markets or great capital sources or lenders, where these different individuals that you're going to be working with on your team, they're the ones that you can get that feel if they're truly committed, if they have conviction, if they've done the homework, if they are purely focused, if they're all in and committed. And as an investor, that's absolute must. Like I talked about in the previous episode, you're not buying, you're investing in the jockey, not just the horse. I mean, the horse has to be a great investment vehicle, but the jockey themselves have to check off those boxes that I shared about being committed, being focused, having a team, having experience, sharing the transparently, like anything that went wrong in the past, and be committed to die on the horse to go make that deal happen. So those are all senses. So you're not going to hear that outright. And I know we all have had this. We all have a gut feeling where you knew like this person is not right for me. Like stay away from this person, because I believe in playing long-term games with long-term people. By having that mindset, now it's not about just getting this deal done, because if I get super like clingy or obsessive, or I get attached to this one deal and I want it to happen so bad, or I want this one partner, or I want this one employee, then that desperation almost breeds separation, where that person is going to want to take advantage of the situation, or they're going to want to pull away from you because you have that needy feeling, and you're actually bringing fear and you're bringing in anxiety and uncertainty to the situation, and you're going to drive others away. And at the same time, you feel that from other people, where you can feel their intention. And I have really been thinking about this a lot lately, is like, what's the intention behind anything that you do? I don't think there's any lying at all to yourself or to other people. People feel your true intentions. And yes, there are great con artists and you can scam people, but people that are truly aligned and sensitive to what's going on, they have a sense of what's going on. And even with yourself, like if you truly believe and feel something where you want to deceive someone, or you want to manipulate someone, or use leverage against someone, like that feeling, that's going to be conveyed. And sometimes it works. I mean, there's shrewd people in business that are extremely successful, but I believe there's a payback, and you create more of that energy as you demonstrate that behavior. And the more I'm able to have pure intention in the sense of wanting to solve a problem, wanting a win-win situation, wanting to align with a partner that I can serve and they can serve me, where we add value for each other. That is going to create more of that, and more like long-term relationships with long-term people. And if I sense that there's dishonesty, or they're not a team player, or that person truly just isn't motivated in what we want to achieve, we're not aligned on the same goal, that at this stage in my career, I don't want to play that game, and I don't want to play it with that person. You waste too much time and energy, and there's so much of a ripple effect if you tolerate that, or if you shove your feelings down and you want something so bad that you're just willing to not look at it and not see the truth of the situation. And that's hard. That is a hard thing to do, because we all at times want something so bad. Right? That's the nature of desire, the age-old Buddhist philosophy of dissociating from our desires, because desire creates suffering. And desire is a powerful tool, and it creates a lot of creation. So there's nothing wrong with it. But the problem is when in my career, I've created a deal or an employee or even a person, and I've elevated that person or that property or opportunity on a pedestal. And I believe like this fulfills my identity. This fills a void in me deeper than just solving an economic problem or generating more money. This is part of my identity. If I get this, then I'm going to feel better. I'm going to feel validated. I'm going to feel successful. I'm going to feel loved from somebody. And that person holds the key to the thing that you're trying to fill, but will never be filled, right? It's very philosophical, somewhat spiritual, but you're never going to fill the hole or void in yourself. I'm never going to do it trying to get it from someone else. Now, creating things and building things and having powerful relationships is very fulfilling. And I think it satisfies a lot of needs in everyone's life. But to identify that thing as being the thing that's going to make you something more than you already are, that is where trouble gets in. And that's where I've made really poor decisions in all areas of my life. So especially in real estate, where no deal is going to make your life better. That's going to make you wealthy. Yet it's not going to make you feel better about yourself. It's not going to make you have more status where people are going to love you more, right? It's not going to make you have a stronger will and tenacity and more ability to expand and give. It's just a deal. It's just a property. It's just wealth. And that's where people kill each other for money. And that's the craziest thing, where I understand that there's tough times, but people get so convoluted that this is who they are. This is their value, and this is what they're worth, and this is what they need in order to be something that they're not. And that that is a recipe for disaster. And you could do it in little ways, and it's easy to do. And that's greed and lust. These things get so alluring when you think you can get something and be able to compromise your values or integrity or work with someone that just truly doesn't feel aligned with who you are and what you want to create and the goals that you have for your company or for your relationships or for your family or for the future. It's just something where it's back to the tuning fork. It's sensing that no one has the answer outside of yourself. No one has the answer for me. I can sit in a million conferences and read a million books, but yet it's my experience. It's my life. I choose how I feel about myself, and I choose the decisions I make for the career I want to build and the wealth I want to build and how I want to build partnerships or who I want to associate with over my life. And I'm the only one that decides if that is going to be fulfilling and that's going to be on path for me or not. And that's for everyone else. It's a personal decision. And I think it's the one why prayer, meditation, by grounding yourself, by taking action daily that aligns with who you are, that ends up becoming you. Your habits become you. Like this is how you get to know yourself, is by your actions, right? Words are just words, but actions demonstrate who you are and they create everything around you. It's practical to real estate is having that conviction, having that because you did your homework, because you've analyzed the markets, you've analyzed other people, and then you have that sensitivity to yourself where you're not numbing yourself just to not feel fear, not feel pain. You're very clear on your goals. You're very clear in who you are. And you're not trying to fill a void doing what you're doing or investing or making money or working with a particular person. You're doing it because you know this is exactly how you want to execute on a plan. You're going to take a shot, right? And that's where you sense it and you take that shot and you don't waver. The great leaders, they don't waver. They make their decision. Not that they make it impulsively. They take time to make that decision. But once they commit with certainty. And then there's no looking back. It's not looking back and saying, I wish I should have, I wish I would have, I could have done this. And then that emotional regret about, I could have done this better. I could have sold at a higher price. I could have bought in a different area. I should have got out of this area a long time ago. Like that's spilled milk. That's all that's done in the past. Now, emotionally, there's no reason to feel regret around that. But there is a reason to logically look at it and learn from the mistakes. That's game tape film, right? Instant replay. Look at that backlog of what the decision was, how it played out. What did you learn? What did your team learn? And what can you do moving forward that's going to allow you to make a better decision and have more conviction and sensitivity to the environment and to your feelings about making the next strategic move. And then when you've taken the reps and you have that experience, then you learn, even in mistakes. There could be something in the short term that didn't work out, but you trusted your gut and then you met someone or you found out a strategic move in a market or you met a broker, like something derivative came out of that seemingly bad decision, but you followed your gut and you felt conviction in what you did. And then ultimately, though, it led you to something more successful or profitable. So don't be so critical. I won't be so critical on myself if something doesn't work out in the short term and I trusted my intuition and I made a move and it didn't win. It didn't work out in the short term. But there's always gems. There's always lessons within that, and some greater opportunity that can compound will be there. It's available, I believe, if you follow this path. And ultimately, you're going to get caught up in emotional markets, right? Where there's euphoria in a market. And we saw this in 2020, late 21, 22, and the price of real estate kept going up, up, up. And we were getting outbid. You know, last year we only did 3 transactions and we used to do 20, 25 a year or more. And it was knowing where the bottom line is, where to stop, and knowing when to walk away and not having that attachment in the short term and not taking it personal or just because there was so much cost involved, opportunity cost involved in a transaction, getting to the finish line, you know, working on a database for 10 years and having a relationship with the seller and meeting them in person, flying all the way to the East Coast and getting to that finish line. And then someone at the last minute outbids the property and then you lose. And it's easy to get discouraged and frustrated. Yet, now that's just the emotions in the market where, yeah, maybe the market goes up, but you have that clarity that this is it. This is all I can pay. This is what I'm willing to do. And I'm willing to walk away no matter how much opportunity cost or time I invested into this opportunity, it's not worth it right here. And the person that has the least to lose in any negotiation has the most power. I've noticed that over my career. When I'm not attached to the outcome and I know that there will be more, there's abundance in the future. And yes, I'm disappointed, but I'm not willing to compromise on where I know I need to be. And I'm willing to walk away because essentially I'm losing nothing. And I'm going to just forget about how much time and energy I put into this. I know the next opportunity will be there as long as I keep playing the game and I keep getting better at my craft and keep improving my skills. So just that detachment and really knowing that detachment and that willingness to walk when you know it's not right is a critical skill in real estate investing that I've learned over my career. And lastly, I believe there is an intuitive part of knowing when to lose, knowing when to sacrifice a pawn in the game, where if greed allures you in to keep pushing and keep taking risks and then pushing to the point where the market could be very, very fragile, or you have limited resources and you're extending yourself way too far, but yet you believe if I can just get over this next hump, I'm going to get this next big payday and it's going to make everything, amazing. And I'm going to be wealthy and I'm going to hit the jackpot here. But knowing when to walk away and to lose and selling an asset for a small loss or a loss at all, or selling it not at the peak of the market, and trusting that this is the right thing at the right time and I can live to see another day instead of holding out and then letting the whole house of cards implode on you, is a critical skill to be able to take that loss and not let it eat at you and not let it detour your confidence. This is part of investing. This is just how life is. We all know this, right? There's no guarantee in anything. There's going to be ups and downs. So it's making the best decision you can in the moment and doing it from the right place and doing it from a place where you trust in what you truly know inside, instead of letting your head and everyone around you and the emotions of the market dictate your decisions. So in the end, it's decision-making is a muscle, right? You have to exercise it. And decision-making comes from, I believe, first in your gut, in your intuition, in your conviction, right? It is a sensitive process to be able to absorb everything and then be able to go with what you know is right. And desperation, fear, pain, falling in love, scarcity with one deal, with one opportunity, all of these things cloud that ability to make a decision that's going to be aligned with your gut, with really what works. And it's confusing because sometimes it works. Even when you make a decision out of fear and it works, you think that, hey, I can do it again and again. But I think playing long-term games with long-term people in that game of trusting in yourself, in the preparation, in your team, in your experience, right? In your feeling, in your gut feeling, in that instinct is critical to lasting in this game long-term of investing and in real estate and in business itself and in relationships, and doing it with long-term people, right? The people that you can build a relationship on, and it's not going to be perfect and there's going to be conflict, but being aligned with that person and being able to grow with that person where you have similar motivations, values, desires that you want to achieve. Take it for what it's worth. This one was pretty abstract, but I hope I was able to spark something in you that helps you make a better decision. Trust your gut, trust your intuition. I think there's something to meditation, breathing, plant medicine journeys, therapy, deep conversation, improving communication. All of this helps you communicate, number one, with yourself. That is the first thing, is being able to be sensitive with yourself and then being able to then sense everything around you to make the best decision you can. And I think there's a lot more intelligence, exponentially more intelligence in our body and in our, I guess you'd say, soul, right, than in just our logical mind. And it's channeling that and using it and following the numbers and the analytics and the optics and the scorecarding, but yet also sensing all of the other factors in people and relationships and energies around the entire decision that you're making. And I think together, those two, with the logic and the gut, that is a indomitable force, and it will succeed over time as long as you continue to play and focus and use that path to help getting better at it. And that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm not amazing at it. I mean, I feel like I'm good, but I can always get better, and there's layers and layers and layers. So yes, please share your comments with me. If I am way off the deep end and you don't believe in it, great, share it with me. And if something resonated with you, and if you've been able to trust your gut and make decisions, or over the long haul, something that you did seemingly didn't work out, but then it did work out because you stuck with your gut and your conviction, please share it with me. I love sharing and I love connecting with you. And if it's 40 people, 50 people, if anybody watches this, I'm glad I could connect with you, because I'm putting my heart into it, and my intuition and my gut tells me that I got to keep doing this. This is my path. And I don't care how many people watch me, as long as it meant something to you and added value to you, that means the world to me. And that fills me up, and it drives me to do this more. All right. I'll see you next time.
For more information on commercial real estate investing, go to patriotholdings.com. Thanks for listening to Finding Your Edge.